Do you really understand the importance of an Azure DevOps project? If not, then don't worry. Today, we will learn about Azure DevOps project, how to create a project, how many types of project, and how to access projects and its settings. So let's get started. Let's understand about Azure DevOps project. What exactly an Azure DevOps project consists of? So, Azure DevOps project is a central place where your team can work together to easily build and deliver software to clients. It lets you securely store and manage your code using Git or TFVC. It also helps us to automate tasks like building, testing, and deploying code smoothly. All application related data, including artifacts and configurations, is stored within the project. Each Azure DevOps project must be associated with an organization. Azure DevOps project includes core services which helps to track tasks, manage code, automate deployments, run tests, and store important configuration files such as Azure boards, Azure repos, Azure pipelines, Azure test plans, and Azure artifacts. Now let's understand how many types of projects in Azure DevOps you can create. So in Azure DevOps, you can create two types of project. First is public and the another is private. In public project, points to keep in mind when creating a public project. It is visible to everyone. You don't need login credentials. It's used for open source development. You can create unlimited project under one organization. If we talk about private project in Azure DevOps, the points to keep in mind when creating a private project are it's only visible to invited team members. Second, you must log into Azure DevOps to access it. It's used for confidential and sensitive development work, and you can create unlimited projects under one organization. Now, let's create Azure DevOps project. Now, hit dev.azure.com. Now, here you see it has routed us to dev.azure.com. Since in my last video I have only created the organization, I did not start with project. So that is the reason I am not able to see any of the project over here. So let's get started by creating a project. So this is for DevOps demo. So I'll give it a name, DevOps demo. And if you want to provide a description for what reason you are building this project, so let's say if I am doing a web app deployment, so I'll give it as deploying web app. Now if you want to specifically mention which web app you are going to deploy, you can certainly update here. Let's say if we are going to deploy a Node.js application, so we'll update deploying Node.js web app. So yeah, this provides more clarity to us. Now before starting how to create a project, let's understand two things. Over here, you see in the visibility, we have public and private section, right? This is where we have to understand. If you remember, I told you that in public project, it is visible to everyone. But if you keep your project private, it is visible to only the invited team members. So we have to take precautions while creating the project. Let's say if your current organization has a requirement to create a private project, so make sure you come here and click on private instead of public, because it will be publicly accessed without any credentials. Make sure you do not hit public option. Now we'll come down over here. You see there is an advanced section. We'll click on it. So in the version control, it will give an option to choose between Git and TFVC. Currently it is showing as Git because I have selected it as Git. Now next to that, there is the work item process. Depending upon your project requirement or your team requirement, like which process they want to go with, you can come here and you can select it. So I'll set it as agile methodology. Now click on create project. Now you see there is a project created with DevOps demo deploy Node.js application. Once we have created a project, what we have to do, we have to come inside it. So we will click on it. The moment you hit DevOps demo, it will take you to the project homepage, or whatsoever the name that you have provided, it will take you to the same page over here as you can see in my screen, and then you can get started. Welcome to the project. This is the home screen of Azure DevOps Project. If you create any new project, it will take you to this screen. Now over here, you can come here and you can click on manage your services. It will take you to the page where it will ask you few of the information, which services you want to opt in for and which services you don't want to opt in for, what kind of settings you want to do and what kind of settings you want to undo. So over here, once you come and click on overview, you can see the project details as we provided earlier. So we have given the name DevOps demo, we have the description, deploy Node.js application, then we have the project administrator. So currently you can see DevOps with Nishant is the project admin, and it's my code to crack at the gmail.com. My email address has been added to the same. If you want to add any new admin, you can just click on add administrator. You can search for that respective user and you can send the invitation directly from here also. Let's talk about Azure DevOps services. Let's say if your team only wants Azure DevOps boards to track your work, then in that case, you don't need Azure repos, pipelines, test plans, and artifacts. You can only enable this, and rest you can uncheck it. By doing so, we will repos will get removed. By switching all these options will get removed. Only we will be having Azure boards like that. If I just refresh it, you can see only I'm able to see the Azure boards, right? Again, we can come here and we can toggle them on. Over here, we also get an option to delete project. This will affect all contents and member of this project. The only project administrator can come and delete the project. None other than anyone will be able to delete it. Only the project administrator has the access or the rights to delete it. Now, over here you can see teams. Under teams, you can create multiple teams, and let's say if you want to send any kind of notification or any kind of approval process, then you can come over here and you can add them. Let's say if you want to create a new team, just click on new team, whatever the team name you want to give, and whosoever members you want to create, and what kind of description that what's the role of that team, you can just provide it over here and you can add it. That's it, and simply create. Now we have permissions. Under permissions, there are different roles. What kind of role you want to assign to that user or to that group? You can definitely come here and you can create your own group and you can assign the access. Let's say if I go to contributors, who should be having the contributor role? So over here you can come and you can check the settings. If you want to disable any kind of settings, you can certainly do it from here as well. Below that, we have notification, and notifications are generally for the people who are in the project. Let's say if they want to be notified via mail whether that project is deployment is going on, then they should be notified. Then we have this option. And let's say if they want to like assign any new task to that particular user and he should be getting the notification, then in that case also we need to come here and assign those users within the group, or let's say just click on new subscription and you can assign them. And there are so many options. Well, you can do the settings and configurations, which we will learn in the later stages. Now let's come back to the project. Let's come to dashboard. So in dashboard, it will show you like how the project progress is going on. You can just click on add a widget. Let's say if you want to see how many team members are being assigned to a work, or like to the epic, like how the work track is going on, definitely you can come and you can check. Let's say you have a team of 10 people and in that you want to like they are working on different code bases, and they want to like update how they have built this particular code, and how the DevOps pipeline has been set, how the artifacts is being generated, how the test cases are being run. Everything needs to be documented. So where we will be documenting, we will be creating the wiki, and inside the create project wiki, which will enable your team members to collaborate and publish the code. Now, the next services we have is Azure Boards. So, in Boards, you can track the exact or the required development effort from any of the individuals by creating either bug, epic, feature, issue, task, test case, or user story, depending upon the requirements of your team. Over here, you can see, and also you can categorize them based on the sprints. On this particular sprint, this task has to be completed, and if that is not being completed, then it will come inside the backlogs. Like that, we can track the work. Then we have repositories. So you can see there is nothing as of now over here. Reason, we have created a fresh project and we haven't started checking in our code. The moment we do a check-in and the moment we initialize this as our first branch, then we can see the project and the files. Now we have next service, which is Azure Pipeline. This is where we will be creating our Azure DevOps pipeline. Now you will be thinking, we have kept our source code inside the repository section, which is our Azure Repo service. Now, where we should be creating the pipelines and will be doing the deployment? Yes. Now, for doing so, we have Azure Pipelines. Now, in Azure Pipelines, we'll be creating our own pipeline, and then we will be doing the deployment. And over here, we do have multiple options like pipelines, environments, library. So depending upon the requirement, we will be creating it. Now the next service we have is Azure Test Plan. This is basically used for automation testing, where you can test your builds, if any vulnerabilities are there or not. To find it out, we use Azure Test Plans. Now the next section we have Azure Artifacts. Let's say if you have created a feed which you want to use for any other pipelines, then definitely you can come here and you can connect to that feed. And if you want to use that same artifact to the another pipeline or to the another release of that pipeline, you can certainly connect it and you can use it. So this is how we have an complete Azure DevOps setup, which will help us to build, collaborate, deploy, and deliver the software perfectly fine. Thank you for watching. And if you have liked the video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I will meet in next tech tutorial. Thank you.